Okay. So I don't have a huge agenda of stuff. This might be a little bit shorter. I guess it depends on how long it takes for me to get through all this stuff, so on and so forth. I have five, maybe six things to take a look at, and we'll sort of see where we end up after that. I might try and set up something else. Who knows? So this is from back when I streamed Chaos Edition with Bia, Eclipse, and Gem, and I noticed a couple of things. At the very least, four bugs and an idea of something I can add that might make things a little bit better. So we're going to tackle all of those today for a 1.3.1 kind of thing. All right, so what do we got? One is pretty simple. I think it's actually on the client side. Right here. So what I had noticed is that when this is active, sometimes it doesn't actually do a hue shift, right? And so this get or default right here, it gets a default value of 0, and it should actually set that value. Because if it's not in the map, then when it ticks, I mean, it should still merge this, because it should associate the value with this and then just add it, right? But it doesn't do that. So there's something going on here that messes stuff up. Right, and it checks if it's active this way. Is affected, and it checks this. But clearly the client doesn't have it active for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why. Because it sends this status payload. For some reason the client thinks it's active, but the server disagrees. Shouldn't that be handled by this though? Because if they think it's not active, then this check is going to check this, where it's going to get a tracker and see if it's present. Okay, so what's the idea? The idea is that this gets 0 and it doesn't tick. Because the way it's checking is different. And this is on a client tick, because this is done in the client one. Right? Yes. So on a client player tick, that's where we're at right now. Client player tick. This checks this, which gets a tracker. Is that an incorrect way of going about it? Should I check if the client is tracked? Probably, because I probably want a client tracker. That's a server-side tracker, which I guess can get desynced. All I know now is that if this is true, then we'll be getting this, which means this is true, which means we'll be getting this. And so in both of these situations, we end up doing the same thing. Whereas the other time, I guess it's possible for there to be a desync. So this seems to be about right. All right, now this next one, that was pretty easy warm up. This next one was basically what happened at the very end to Bia, where the game just kind of broke. Reality was torn asunder. Bad things happened, basically. Because of the, and this is not here or here. Now, I want to know if they are watching the end credits, because if they are, we should not be taking that. Now, there's probably a way somewhere here to see if they're currently watching the end credits. I think I just want credits then. Or credits? It's on the, it's likely on the implementation of this. Can I see an implementation? Go to implementations. I feel like server player is probably the right one. Scene credits. Okay, so this is we're getting somewhere with this. I need a call hierarchy for this. They haven't seen the credits, then it detaches for dimension change. And then if they're not in any world, then it sets not in any world equal to true, and then it sends this packet. Yeah, can I see any other stuff? Is that really it? Well, that's at least it here. Take me here. Okay, so we send this packet. Then what? I want to see like when it sets it back. On game state change. It sets it to the credits screen. And then it sends a perform a respawn packet. And then when it sends this packet, it sends it over here, which sends it over here, which sends it over here. Which does this on client status. So go to implementations, and then on it, then it sets not in any world to false. So this is actually what I want. I want the not in any world thing. Basically. That's what all of that confirmed for me. The server player, this is in the server player entity. Okay, so then I need to get the server player. Okay, so if they're not in any world, if they're a server player, and they're not in any world, then we don't tick it because it's gonna do all this. So when they're detached, when they're watching the credits, it shouldn't tick their chaos tracker and should therefore not, tear reality asunder, right? That's the idea. This is number 5. Not 56, 5. Look at me. Making individual commits for the individual issues. It's like I'm good. I'm really good. All right. Next one I want to take a look at is down here. Not that one. And not that one. It's one of these. It is the sudden death effect. The instant death, while funny, can kind of soft lock you a little, and I'm not really a huge fan of the idea. So what I want to know is when really there's no set dead here. Image on death. I'm gonna set death cap to 20. I'm gonna set this to 0. And whenever they die, we're gonna increment that. They want this to be like 120. And I'll put an int. So now it tracks the number of deaths you have. Well, it saves the number of deaths you have. It doesn't actually track right now. I want to write a mixin into here for on death. Unless there's an event that already does that, which I don't know if there is. This is gonna be at the head. On death. Yeah, and I check if the effects is active. And I want to check this. I want to check for not world as client. Probably. That's what I'm thinking I want to do. Don't need this, or this, or this. Right, array bags can be on player def callback dot class. Oops. And I have an array of that. And so it's all just void, right? So it's just. And then the player mixin, which is over here. I need to get the invoker, that's right. Alright, we have this. And then we can go to the sudden death effect. If it's a client world, we'll return otherwise. Oh, this is. Oops. So now if we have the effect, We increment both of these. There should be a ticks existed, right? No, it's separate. Where is this updated? Last attack time. I'm guessing the last attack time is handled elsewhere. Okay, but you should still... Like, this should still be updated. Oh, it's done right here. It just works, okay? I like your username. How's it going? Unattacking. It sets it to the age. When does your age update? That's what I want to know. I put your age there. There's that. Where did it say? Yeah, age modulo 20. Age modulo 40. There has to be... There has to be an age somewhere. Oh, not in package. Pretty good late night for you? Oh. For for me it's like 10:30 in the morning, so... What you doing up this late? Wait, then that's done there. Control FH. Space. Do that, do that. Oh wait, I don't know if I want that. I think I just want... There's 217. Wow, no. Dot age. There we go. Add time zones. Oh, why am I up? Well, I don't exactly know, per se. I got a paper to write. Oh, you're writing a paper? What's your paper on? You don't mind me asking. Age. No. But there's no... It's not incremented ever. Fixed since last hurt by mob. And I would guess that this doesn't update this because you don't need it. You have age. This dot age. This is an entity. Okay, it should probably be handled here. I'm massively confused. Quantum chromodynamics regarding the Yang-Mills problem? Holy moly. I'm gonna look that up. Though I do say I'm more so preparing since I need to get more of my math in order. What is the Yang-Mills problem? I will get distracted. Unsolved problem in mathematical physics and mathematics. Oh, shoot. That's kind of cool. Prove that for any compact simple gauge group G, a non-trivial quantum Yang-Mills theory, which I'm not familiar on, exists in R4 and has a mass gap delta greater than 0. Existence includes establishing axiomatic properties at least as strong as those cited in blah, 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 blah. I used to know how to pronounce this word. I do not. That's all right. Oh, it's abelian. Yes, that's the word. Abelian. I remembered now. I had to think about it a lot. I used to do some math I got a double major in math, computer science, so I am familiar with the math terms, even though it's been like 6 years. Wait, do you think? Oh, wait. U.H. Oh, see, there's stuff here, although that doesn't fucking do anything. Then how would you update your age? Is the age public? Oh, no, I understand. I understand file is read-only. Find this. It is public. You know what? Show me usages. Holy shit. Client world, entity.age++. This is what we want to see. Tick entity. It passes that entity and then does that. And then it ticks the entity. Ah, I get you. So now we can timestamp off of this. If the entity... Well, that's the point, right? Gosh, I haven't seen Java code in a while. It's... You really only see Java in, like, the financial sector, I guess? At least from my experience, like, IT financial sector stuff. I'm not sure why, like, that's the application for it, but it is. Unless you're Minecraft, in which case, Tish, you're here. So... And so I live and breathe Java, but I live and hate financial sector work, so I have I have a very interesting set of skills. So if I get the age of the player here as the last death timestamp, then if the player dies when they are ticked, you know, this will work. This will prevent a death loop, because this only works if we can successfully tick them, of which if they respawn and instantly die again, they may only tick like once. Spoken like a true man. You know it. So now that I have all of this, I need to check if the age... Oh, do I want a last death timestamp there? I don't want a last death timestamp now. I want to check if the current effect.last death timestamp, the difference between these two. That's the ABS effect.last death timestamp minus player.age. If that is less than or equal to what am I looking for? Death loop count tick death loop tick length. There we go. I also have avoided doing leak code via doing said research. Yes, I'm suggesting I'm furthering physics simply because I hate leak code. Now, I'm not super huge on that either. I mean, I program because I like programming. I'm not here to like win competitions or do any of that nonsense. Those like, I don't even remember what they are, hackathons or whatever. I don't get it. I don't get it. If we're within this, I'm not going to update the last death timestamp. Right? We're just gonna leave that. Okay, if it's greater than, what I'll do is I'll set effect dot death loop count to 0 and effect dot last death timestamp to player dot age. Bada boom, bada bing. Well, neither am I, but I generally just like half-longs and stuff. Fair enough. I just don't see the point. Why are you complaining? A value player that age assigned to this is never used? It is. It's used like right here. Oh, because I have this here. There we go. So we increment the deaths, we increment the death loop count, and then we do this. Then, if either of the following are true, effect.deaths I can do this so much better. Get rid of this. Set this to -1. If this plus, no. Increment it first, then use it. If that's less than, or sorry, if that is greater than or equal to death cap, or plus effect dot death loop count, whoops, that's the wrong one, is greater than or equal to death loop tick threshold. That's not a variable name that makes sense. This is death loop count threshold. There we go. Is effect like a giant static container? In this context, sort of. Basically, I'm getting the active effect that's of this class. So I'm working on this class, right? I'm getting the active effect that's on the player. If it exists, because this callback will be called regardless of whether or not this effect is active. So I need to check to see if it's active. If it is, I'm going to operate on it by basically checking to see the amount of times they've died. Because when I played this with a couple of other streamers, like maybe a month ago, we ran into an interesting situation where this effect, which sets your max health to 1, could get you stuck in a death loop. Not like permanently. You would get out, but it would be very, very like it would be a horrible experience. So I'm basically implementing something that tracks the amount of times you've died, and if you die, my argument is if you die 5 times in the last 120 ticks, 20 ticks being 1 second. So if you die 5 times in 6 seconds, then it will end the effect. If you also just die 20 times total, it will also end the effect. Just to prevent like a massive death montage that's not really that fun and there's not really much you can do. It kind of sucks. So if the death is greater than or equal to the death cap, or the death loop count is greater than or equal to the death count threshold, we're incrementing it before we're using it. And so that plus in front is doing, that's why I set this to -1, because I'm basically resetting it here. So I want it to be 0 when it checks. In either of these situations, we want to end the effect. The way we end the effect is I think the best way to end the effect is to do this dot duration, set duration. We'll set it to 1. We'll do this dot end. I guess I don't need on effect end. Well, yeah, I'll do on effect end for the player. That will end everything. And then I will do this dot tick effect. I want to, well, end everything, end the whole effect, basically. But I can't remove the effect because we might be in this, which modifies this player chaos effect state, and then I might get like what's it, like a concurrent modification problem, which I want to try and avoid. And so the way I do that is I basically just set it to 1 tick remaining, it'll tick it, and then remove it. Now this tick chaos effect returns less than or equal to 0, so we're fine in that regard. And then this tick effect does this, and it will also call the effect end. Actually, if it's calling the effect end, I don't really need this. I just need to set the duration to 1 and then tick the effect. That will have it remove everything. It'll do on effect end. Now on effect end for you will do this, where it'll remove the modifier. What if the modifier doesn't exist? ID to modifiers dot remove. If it's null, okay. We should be fine. I'll have to double check it, but I think we're good. Okay, so we're gonna test this. No, I didn't stop it. Oh wait, I did. Oops, never mind, continue. I forgot. I thought, oh, I didn't register it, but I literally did. So, I know how I can check this pretty quickly. I can give myself the effect, I can set my spawn points in a bed, and I can put a wall near the bed, and then I can increase my size so that I respawn in the wall and suffocate, which instantly kills me, like every tick when I respawn. And if everything's good, then, like, as long as this condition works, I know this condition will work just fine because this is just a counter. Except for the fact that I did not store this information. That would, in fact, be a problem. We probably want to do that. Death loop count. This dot death loop count. And then I have last death timestamp. What are you even going on about? Finish with non-zero exit value. Okay, I don't know what you're complaining about, but you need to calm down for a moment. I'm not done. Last death timestamp. And then I put the same thing here. MBT dot put in last death time this dot last death timestamp, and now I just need to read it from here as well. This dot death loop count equals MBT dot get int death loop count dot or else 0. Now do this dot, whoa, that's English. Last step timestamp equals MBT. I can barely type. Whoa, I'm having a really hard time here with this type in here. Do I know any other languages than Java? Yes, I do know Python. Because I had to do some Python in university. Every now and then I whip out Python if I want to automate like a simple task or something. Because programming in Python's a lot quicker and dirtier. And so I can get something up and running really quickly, and I don't need to have like a whole compiler connect to this thing, do this just to run like a really simple thing. So I wouldn't use Java for that. I've also programmed in C++ for university, but it has been an age since I have done so, but I am somewhat familiar with it. What's your issue? And I forgot to fucking put the thing. Oh wait, no, I did. I'm fine. I keep forgetting. I keep thinking that I messed something up, but I haven't. And I've also very recently, like this is the past like month or so, have started getting into C# for programming Stardew Valley, which I might actually do a bit of today. This will be the first time I've done any Stardew Valley modding on stream, but it depends how far we get, and I'm expecting that to be a lot of I'm still figuring stuff out and setting stuff up, setting stuff up. I can barely talk, so I'm not super sure about. Not the flex. I know 12. You know 12? Holy. Okay, this is fine. Let's see. So I would say Python, C++, Java, C#. And the other languages, I guess I just haven't really been that interested in. What is your problem? I can't wait for you to be invincible. Wait, I can just... Okay, good. Alright, that's not what I wanted to do. Can I do / times set day? Just to make life easier, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a bed and we're gonna grab some blocks. Thank you for making me left-handed out of nowhere. You're really funny. Actually, I guess I don't really need it. There's a village over here that I can sleep in. Should be a bed somewhere here. So if I set my spawn point here and I respawn right here, everything's fine, right? And you've please 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 stop that. So if I now do, oh, perfect. You said it for me. Chaos apply. I think it's going big. I'm gonna suffocate. Oh, wait, it ended it like immediately. That's no bueno. That's not what I wanted. Hold on. Something's not right. I mean, if you want to name Python, C, C++, Rust, Zig, Gleam, TypeScript, JavaScript, Go, Odin, Assembly, and Mojo. Oh, I have done a bit of assembly. I forgot about that. Last time I've done assembly is a really long time ago. And have I ever touched JavaScript? I think like in passing I've touched JavaScript, and if we count HTML, I guess we can, but I don't know if we really count HTML. HTML and JavaScript kind of go hand in hand anyway, so you know. If the last death timestamp, I need to set this here. Okay, so if we do this, actually, if I just /kill, it doesn't do anything, right? Cool. You making it really hard to test this stuff. Yeah, I see that, but I do not like JavaScript at all. Unfortunately, JavaScript is sort of the way the web kind of works, but I think I will be doing JavaScript on stream at some point, I think. Oh, please don't subject me to this. Okay, so apply the sudden death, right? If I just slash kill out here while it's active, it ends the effect. Why? Yeah, and let's use TypeScript. Fair enough. Fair enough. Am I not in the actual thing? Hello, where are my breakpoints? Okay, so it works. My breakpoints work. I'm not sure why this is not working. But it's removing the effect, so something's happening. Okay, I'm gonna have to do old-fashioned logger outputs because I don't know why it's not working. Okay, let's hot swap that in and check. Right, so that makes sense because I don't have sudden death active. So put it on. Now kill. What do you say? You don't say anything. What in the world is going on here? Have I not registered this appropriately? So, I set a sudden death, right? Chaos Effect Registry.register. It does the entry.register callbacks, which is going to do the instance.register callbacks, which is going to get us to register callbacks. Let's see. Because we should be able to see that, unless the effect is not registered, in which case then I don't know why it's being removed. That doesn't make sense. Definitely did that. So it registers the effect. Okay. I'm very confused. I'm still very confused. I don't think I can set a breakpoint in this, right? I can. Whoa. What? It's not calling this breakpoint. Let's see if it happens. Maybe the /kill command causes a problem. I'm just gonna check by following from here. No. Interesting. This on death is not helpful? What the heck? Okay, then what are... No, I want the usage of this. Overridden in server player entity. Do I have a server player mix-in? I don't. I just have a regular player mix-in. Why, though? I assume the game event does that. Does it emit a game event on entity die for this player, which then calls it exclusively on the client side, which explains why this doesn't work because it's only on the client side? That would be so dumb. But then it should at the very least still do this, but it doesn't. Okay, alright. The logic is fine, it's not getting called. I don't know why me dying removes it. Oh, I know why! I need this! So I can do that! Ah! That's what was going wrong. Well, that was part of what was going wrong. Okay, so if this is a problem, then I could try and throw it elsewhere? Alright, where do you... No, not age. Not age. Hello? Yeah, and then I would like to see a call hierarchy. I think it's navigate, call hierarchy. Living entity.handle, living entity.damage, which calls on death. If it's dead. Oh, what? And then it calls on death, which is gonna call the on death for... Oh my gosh. Do I have the living entity mixin? I do. Alright, here's the plan. We're just gonna plop this in over here. We're gonna be very careful here, because we need to check if... Whoa, what are you doing? What you doing there, boss? What's going on? If this instance of... Whoa. Player entity. This is not... Alright. A living entity. Duck type this. You don't like it? Instance of check for this. No shit, but I need to know. I guess I need to do this. And then if I do entity, and then I do entity, and then I don't need this anymore. There we go. So now this is called for the living entity, which is going to be called regardless because the living... Are we even sure about that? This could be factually incorrect. Because it calls on death. Unless they do an on hurt. But then I'd have to do all of this, and I'd have to have a hurt on the end, which... Ugh. That's not what I want. And then it plays on death. It plays on death. It executes on death. Which that works, but the server player entity emits this game event. I could try this. If not, I might have to mix in directly into this, which is really annoying. It is what it is. I knew there would be shenanigans. I knew this wouldn't just be an easy in and out 5-minute ordeal. But at least I fixed some of the other the fact that it resets. I fixed that part, which is important. I need to be careful. There was a super call that I missed. Okay, so if I /kill, that's not even what I really want here, right? I mean, I actually have no idea. Right, I should probably set a breakpoint. And it still doesn't work. Oh. Okay, so it's not calling that stuff, which leads me to believe that I need something else. Unless, hold on. Let's not go balls to the wall right yet. Right, this is for a whole bunch of items or messages or whatever. Network handler dot send packet. That's true. What if it's just doing this? I mean, I guess that's an option. It's not even doing that. So it's not even calling this part. So this whole thing isn't working. So, in that case, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know. We just gotta do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to do this. At least I know that I can do this. I might as well cast it to a server player entity, and then go into my on death callback and just force it to be like that. That way, it's guaranteed, right? Like, I might as well give myself the extra access here. And then this changes this, which doesn't actually change too much beyond this. But I now have access to a server player entity here, which I think by default kind of guarantees that this is not a thing that I need to worry about. Yeah, look at this. This is straight return server world. Straight up returns server world. And the server world, guess what? It's gonna say it's not a client. Just wait for it. Somewhere it'll say that. Whether reset rather. I think it's here, right? It should be here. Why don't I just control F it instead of thinking I'm gonna find it this way? Get entity world dot is client. Return is client. Oh. That would actually that makes no sense. Actually that makes a little more sense. Where's my server world? Server world. Alright, so this server world says is client is false. And since I'm getting a server world off of my server player entity, I can confirm almost like axiomatically, basically, if this is a server player entity, then get entity world.isClient is always false, which means this never runs, which means I never need this. That makes sense, right? Makes sense to me. All right. Let's verify this working. The game is very laggy right now. Okay, it copied that over. Okay, and it does actually... Okay, we should be able to see if I now apply... And as you can see, it eventually force ended. It eventually force-ended itself. Because I died too many times. Hooray. I am very big. Very good. So, that's that. I don't need these anymore, though. So this is now fix number 8. Boom. So we've done number 8, we've done number 5, we've done number 4. There is number 7, which is interesting. This is an interesting one to look into. So number 7 says, the enchantment effect, this one here, removes all enchants and applies at least one enchant, so the item should still be enchanted. The way I know this is because it checks if they have enchantments and then it removes them. And then it generates an integer from 0 to 4. And since this is a do-while loop, this is guaranteed to run at least once, which means it's guaranteed to add at least one enchantment. As you can see, if we remove the enchantment components type, it returns a default. It does not actually apply it. So, to remove the enchantments is not to do that. Oh, I can set the enchantments to the default one, right? Or I don't know if I want to set it to the default one. That might be not a good idea. So I might just need to, instead of remove it, I want to stack.set to a new item enchantments component. It's not visible? Not be accessed from outside package. You suck balls. Okay, better idea then. I don't need to do this. I just do this dot builder dot build. Holy moly. If value is null, the component is removed and the base component is unset. To reverse the stack-specific change, instead pass the default value as value. What the hell? I think this is what I would want anyway. What is your problem? Wait, can I just do... This is really, really jank. Main hand dot get enchantments dot remove predicates dot always true and build. What do you mean? Oh, you suck balls. Why can't you chain together? That's so annoying. Can I... No, I can't do that. Whatever. Builder dot remove this thing. Then put it here. So now the next thing I want to check is the component compensation, because it does mess with enchantments, and I want to make sure that it's not completely removing the enchantments. I guess I could do the same thing that it's doing, because that seems to be working. That doesn't seem to be extremely broken. Item enchantments component dot default, and then build it. So then this will set it to that. And now I should be able to verify that even if I do it on an originally enchanted item, it will unenchant the item, but then re-enchant it with something else. If it works here, then I've also verified that it works in component compensation the way I want it to work. And then that's not a problem. It doesn't work here. It never was working on the component compensation. That's a problem. So, yeah. Now there is a chest here with some stuff, so we can do that and do Chaos Supply Enchantment. As you can see, it applies Silk Touch and Loyalty. If I do it again, it changes it, right? You can stop doing that. Right, it changed it. There we go. And then it turns into a jungle pressure plate when used. Beautiful. When used, it turns into whatever the heck that is. I just want to see this actually change the enchantments, which currently it's not doing. This is enchanted, but I don't know how. I don't know what it has, I guess is the better way to say it. Thank you for that. Oh, my bed is enchanted too. It has power 7. God damn it, I don't see the thank you for making it really hard to... These don't have tooltips anymore, so they're useless to me. This doesn't have a tooltip anymore, so it's useless to me. Can it have something other than... Oh, this got Silk Touch. Okay, so this got its enchants changed, and it works correctly. And this turns into whatever this is. Oh, it basically turned into a totem, which is kind of cool. We're gonna get rid of all of this. Oh my lord, you're not that scary actually. You have like a stone hoe at best. Yeah. Okay, this guy does a little bit more damage. Okay. I'm good. Alright. So this fixes number 7. And so we've done the infinite death loop, we've done the enchantment effect, the watching end credits bug, the rainbow handler, and now all we have is this new chaos command thing. A subcommand, which is actually really useful, and I probably should have made it a lot earlier. Right, so we have the /chaos command, but now we also, and then we have 3 subcommands: apply, is active, and literal. So then this checks to see if that is active, and checks to see if that specific effect is active. Oh, what are you doing? Dot then command manager dot literal applicable. Dot then effect arg node dot execute a thing dot execute a thing. Does this get a random applicable effect? Those command syntax exception. Send feedback under text.literal, passing in the result dot toString, I guess. That's not how you spell that. And then I'm going to return if applicable. I'm going to return this, otherwise I'm going to return 0. So if the effect is null, that means I want a list of all the effects that are applicable. So I want get all effects. And I want to check if entry is applicable to source.getPlayer. And then get the name. Whoa, what is this? Chaos effect registry entry. There we go. Hello, how's it going? Oh, these are strings. Do I want this to be? I would want this to be in a string builder. A deadline for research ethics stuff on 24th, trying to hammer out paper stuff. Nice, nice. I also don't want a stringed up value of, or string, I don't want to like encapsulate it in a bunch of string builders. Yeah, okay. But if I for each, that's gonna be a problem. Unless I map them all to string builders? If I map them all to string builders, that seems like that's not a great idea. Currently fighting through and trying to do details. What am I working on? So there was actually a handful of things that I worked on. So when I did the Chaos Edition collab with Bia and Co, basically, I noticed a couple bugs, and so I'm finally getting around to fixing them, more or less. And this last thing isn't really a bug, but it's a little bit of an improvement. It's an effect, just like all these other effects, but it gives me a list of the effects that are currently applicable. Or if I pass a specific effect, it'll tell me if that effect is applicable, which I think is useful. So I'm currently working on that, and like that's the last thing I have for this. I would have everything else done after that. So I just want to reduce this nicely. I think using string concat is like a terrible idea. Right? What's my alternative if I don't use string concat? Because I'm going to be creating a new string every single time that runs. I would much rather just concatenate it all to a string builder, which makes a lot more sense. But how do I do that nicely? If I want to reduce it, there's other reduce, right? There's got to be other reduce. Where's my reduce? Literally where did it just go? What the fuck do you mean? I just saw it, and then it decided to render all this fucking Java doc, and then it just... There we go. Here. Right, so this is the same type as that. I have a different reduce. I want this reduce. Where it takes a string builder, a string, and then returns this. And then it combines it. Okay. I understand. This takes in string builder. There's gonna be a string builder dot well, I need like what the heck are you doing? String builder append. And now this needs to be sb dot append dot append, and then do this. There we go. What's your problem? Oh yeah, and so this is now a string builder. And I can just set result equal to that? What's your problem? Variable used in lambda expression should be final or effectively final. Make result effectively final by moving initializer to the if statement. What fucking initializer? I see. And then here, this is gonna be a string builder that's gonna say whether or not it's yes or no, right? So this is gonna be chaos effect registry dot oh wait, no. This is gonna be get chaos effect entry or throw, passing in the effect dot is applicable to the source dot get player, and then if so, we do yes, otherwise we do no. And now this is going to execute given a specific context applicable, passing in the context source and the get effect arg, passing in this context as well. And then this, I'm going to do the same thing given a context. We're going to do applicable context dot get source and get effect arg for the context. And bingo bango, something's wrong. And variable result may not have been initialized. Oh, you suck balls, new string builder, fine, be that way. Alright. There we go. So now this should give me an applicable command, where I can use it to get a list of all effects that are applicable within the current context. So if I do /chaos applicable, we get a problem. What's the problem? You didn't tell me what the problem was. Also, I didn't fix this. Applicable needs to be this, and then applicable goes there. Not that really matters too much, but I guess this doesn't need to be like that. Okay, sure. Doesn't need to have a default value. All right, let's see. Let's see. Come on. Finish your thing. There we go. All right, try that again. What do you mean there was an error right away? Okay, so it's not like I broke everything. Go, fall. Get out of here. Okay, so like, those work. Applicable breaks though. Okay, but what if? Okay, we're getting somewhere. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I just did the same thing twice, which of course was a problem. Okay, so now if I do this, it gives me a list of everything that is applicable. I hate this. I know why it does that. That's so dumb. When the characters in a substring sequence, a substring begins at the specified index and ends at the and extends to the character at index n-1 or to the end of the sequence no such character exists. If start is equal to n, no changes are made. So I want it this. Oops. Okay, so now if I do it again, as you can see, it no longer has this little bit up in front. And so this gives me a list of all of them. So now if I'm down here, as we can see, Bat Bomb is applicable, and that is something I wanted to know, because sometimes it never feels like Bat Bomb is so niche, I was almost curious if it never got applied. Or if it was never applicable. But it is. Now I can always check to see if certain effects are applicable. If there was something that was if there was an effect that was very rare, to see if it was applicable. It was applied very rarely. Say, what's a rare one? I've seen all of these be applied at some point or another. Reorganize, repeating, rotate. Back down, social distancing. I've seen them all be applied at some point or another, except for the Bat Bomb, which I've basically only seen get applied when I manually apply it. Oh wait, no, this needs to be apply. So it says it's actually applicable here, and there are in fact bats. Holy shit. All right, dude. And there we go. That's all I needed. That's that command done. Wait, there's one more thing. 1.3.1. Six, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, if I push all that. Are all closed. Hooray. Might as well do that. And that is all of the fixes. So that's a couple of wiki updates that are needed. All right, beaut.